forged from mystery and found only in a frequency caught between logic and myth. You were entering Paradox Theater. Tonight's episode, The Vast of Night.
The Vast of Night is a contemporary science fiction feature film which pays homage to all things 50s and science fiction. Made on a shoestring budget, the filmmakers lacked the ability to show any of the tropes often associated with the sci-fi genre, such as visual effects, UFOs, or aliens. Instead, director Andrew Patterson and his team used the audience's expectations of 50s science fiction to fill in the gaps. The New York Times once described the 1950s as a time of A-bombs, B-pictures, Cold Wars, and science fiction. Although the fear of nuclear warfare is prevalent in most science fiction of the time, I like to think that there are three subsections when it comes to 1950s science fiction films. Firstly, there's the going to space movies, where a group of astronauts fly to outer space only to encounter some form of alien life form. Secondly, there's the alien invasion movies, where aliens come down to Earth and cause terror. And thirdly, there's what I like to call the consequences of the atomic age movies, a series of pictures where testing of atomic bombs leads to the creation of a terrifying creature. Fitting nicely into the alien invasion category, The Vast of Night makes use of well-known tropes and themes from all three subgenres, as well as science fiction as a whole, perhaps most notably imitating The Twilight Zone. Furthermore, throughout the film there are scenes with large amounts of dialogue, moments in which Patterson cuts to black in order to evoke the sci-fi radio plays that were popular throughout the 1950s.
Airstrip with dirt, like we never been there. And then the sound disappeared and we got further away. And when I got back, then I started getting really sick.
Though Patterson clearly uses references for nostalgic reasons, it remains pretty obvious that they are used to bridge the gap where the budget cannot. Specifically, I believe that there are three major areas of this dependence on viewer knowledge and expectations that truly elevates The Vast of Night above its contemporaries.
Watch the skies, everywhere. Keep looking. Keep watching the skies.
A common trope throughout space movies is a sense of wonder, of what is out there, of what is to come, of the unknown. This is perfectly captured by the beautifully painted backdrops that are shown in the majority of space movies. This sense of wonder found in the going to space subgenre can also be found throughout The Vast of Night. Firstly introduced in a conversation between the two lead characters, this sense of astonishment is established through Faye and Everett, whose conversations and own sense of wonder guides us as the viewer. Although the film does not take place in space or feature those gorgeous painted backdrops, Patterson shoots much of the film to maximize the night sky, keeping his subjects in the frame relatively small, or keeping the frame empty altogether. In doing so, the director shows The Vast of Night not only to be a literal title, but an appropriate substitute for outer space.
You fools, you're in danger! Can't you see? They're after you! They're after all of us! Our wives, our children, everyone! They're here already! You're next!
Just as the expansive nature of space creates a sensational feeling of astonishment and fascination, it too can create fear. Throughout the film, the sound that Faye and Everett are investigating can be heard over the radio, raising suspicions of an alien communication being picked up from outer space. Patterson slowly builds the tension of the film through power outages and bizarre radio transmissions, and as Faye and Everett discover more on the subject, so do we. Eventually, our suspicions are all but confirmed. Through this slow build and in using tropes from both the space movie and the alien invasion subgenre, Patterson cements the idea of an alien attack in the mind of the viewer. It is no longer a matter of if, but when.
When man entered the atomic age, he opened a door into a new world. What we'll eventually find in that new world, nobody can predict.
The mad scientist trope had been around long before the 1950s, but had found new associations come the atomic age. Post-Hiroshima, the American public had grown to distrust scientists, and this became prevalent in the pictures of the time, with science fiction films portraying mass destruction at the hands of scientists and the atomic bomb. Though no crazy scientists are featured in The Vast of Night, Patterson creates the same sense of distrust. Whilst they were attempting to find out more about the sound, Faye and Everett receive phone calls from callers who claim they know what is going on. However, these callers come with a surprise. Just as Everett asks why the government would allow them to know of their secrets, it is revealed that they are minorities, old women and African American men, the type of people that no one would believe in 1950s America. However, in showing this to be the case, Andrew Patterson draws clear comparisons to today. In place of mad scientists is the United States government, whose top secret missions and deception towards the public creates a sense of uncertainty in Faye, Everett, and the viewer. In doing so, Patterson takes the 1950s fears of the skies, outer space, and extraterrestrials and brings them down to Earth. It is not the science fiction fantasies of the 1950s that are man's largest threat, but man himself.